Hello again, and welcome to your practice. Today, a Hatha Yoga practice focusing on the core. Some really important work to help support the body in all of its movement. So we're working mindfully and really listening to your body. You're going to help develop not only new strength in your center, but also a more grounded feeling in all of your movement and a lighter upper body, which will allow you to sit, to stand, to just be with more ease with yourself. So we'll start in a comfortable resting position on your back. You can keep your knees bent, feet on the floor if you like. If everything feels good in the lower back especially, you can extend your legs out, let them fall open to the sides as you bring your arms by your side. The back of your head resting on the ground, right in line with your spine, so with that center line of the body. We're just going to give the body a few moments to arrive, to settle in, as you allow yourself this time to just be, to let go of the outside world, and develop a little bit more connection to that world happening inside of you. One thing that can be helpful there is sometimes tensing and energizing the body can help release some of that holding, that tension that we may be carrying even subconsciously. If you're feeling like you need a little bit more of a push or a squeeze to let go, feel free to join me with this tensing and relaxing. We'll start with the lower body. And when you're ready, pushing your seat down into the floor, inhale and lift your legs and squeeze all of the muscles of the lower body, squeezing the feet and the calves and the upper legs, even squeezing the knees up towards the hips. On an exhale, release that. And on your next exhale, see if you can release anything there a little bit more. We'll do the same thing just with the upper body, taking care to support the lower back by pushing your seat down towards the ground. On an inhale, lift the upper body and squeeze your hands, squeeze your arms, even squeeze the shoulders up by the face as you squeeze the muscles of the face. And with an exhale, release the tension in the upper body everywhere. And speaking of everywhere, we'll do the whole body at once. When you're ready. Again, pushing your seat down to the ground as you inhale, lifting up and squeezing all of the muscles in the whole body at once. Squeeze everything towards your center as much as you can. With a big exhale out the mouth, release all tension everywhere. And with your next exhale, see if you can release a little more. And feel free to adjust your position so that for the next minute, you can settle down a little easier, a little bit more completely. Using your inhales to just observe again anything you can feel in your body, places where you have contact with the floor. And with your exhale, allowing the whole body to just rest a little bit more peacefully. Feeling the circulation, sensations moving like liquid in the body. Really taking the time here to just notice your experience and integrate with that. after you've noticed and observed the whole body and how you're feeling today, take a moment to notice your natural breathing. Always breathing in through the nose whenever that's possible and it feels good. And if it feels good, breathing out the nose or the mouth without trying to control the breath at first. Just observe your natural breathing. Noticing if the breath is longer or shorter. If you feel it more in your belly or your upper chest. Maybe even noticing some of the more subtle qualities of the breath, like the temperature as it moves in through the nose, any change in temperature as it exits both sides of the nose. Being aware of your breath here is really one of the foundations of an integrated practice. So see if you can observe your breathing a little bit more neutrally, a little bit more interest in how you are breathing right now, right here. As you're ready, you're going to start to deepen the breath. So at the end of your next exhale, you might even squeeze your navel in towards the floor, into the body, to release the last air of the lungs, and then start to lengthen the next inhale gradually and gently. With your next inhale, you also lengthen so that the length of each exhale is at least as long as your breath in, and you continue lengthening and deepening the breath from there. There's no rush. There's no end goal even here. This is really just about taking the time to explore what a more expansive breath feels like. And taking the time with each exhale to make sure the full breath, the full release is there. So in this way, you're going to naturally and in your own time arrive at a very full, but still very manageable, even comfortable breathing rhythm. And then we're going to stay there for 5 more breaths. Once you've reached your maximum comfortable breathing, again, empty the lungs completely. And see if you can even slow down that breath. Allow it to be calm, smooth, relaxed. And allow each exhale to be easy, to be soft, to be complete. At the end of your 5th full exhalation, you can release this practice and just return to your natural breathing. Taking a moment again to just notice and feel. And then when you feel ready, starting to move the body, starting with small movements, any circles, any wiggles, even any stretches or rolling through the joints, through your muscles, anything that just feels intentional and nice. Then we're going to bring the head back to the floor, right in line with the center. I'm going to start with a couple head rolls here. I really want you to be able to feel what's going on in your neck and even in the shoulders a bit as we do our core work today. A lot of the times when we're very concentrated in one part of the body, and especially in our abdomen, we tend to sometimes overdo it or even be under aware of what's going on. And one thing I really want you to be careful of is no straining in your neck. So the cervical spine is the smallest part of our spine, and it's connected to that whole core experience. You just want to make sure that, especially when we're holding our head up doing some of this core work, that you're not forcing and you're certainly not hurting yourself. When you're ready, we're going to bend the knees if you had them long, and put your feet right underneath your knees. That's about the distance where you can touch the back of your foot, touch your heel with your longest finger. I'm going to start like we often do on hands and knees with cat and cow pose, but now here on the floor. So this is about pelvic tilts. It's the lowest part of your spine that will initiate the movement. On an inhale, you're going to start to pull your tailbone down as you tilt your pelvis forward, arching your back. And as you exhale, we're going to tilt the pelvis back as you pull your tailbone up in between your knees. So we're rounding the back. You feel the low back in contact with the mat. We'll continue like this 4 or 5 more times. Inhaling, arching, rotating or tilting the pelvis rather. And exhale, tilting back as you round. Pull that navel into the body. Feel that core support. The point of doing this stabilizing, strengthening work around our center is not necessarily to get that 6-pack or more packed abs. But again, it's really about connecting with your own experience and feeling at ease with yourself. We develop that stability, we develop that awareness in order to be more expressive in the rest of our work, the rest of our sport, and our life. So we're going to start with a classic core strengthening move, very old school here, just some crunches with your feet resting right there underneath your knees. And you could bring your hands to the back of your head, but again, being careful of the neck, you don't want to force the head up. So sometimes it's better for some people to just let the fingers touch right above the ears. And this reminds you of that connection of the top part of your spine, but you're not pulling your head here with the hands on the side instead of behind your head. So we're going to engage the core before we do any of our work. It's called core bracing or abdominal bracing. Again, it's an action like the navel pulling in. And as if you were wearing a pair of tight pants, you squeeze your hip bones towards the center so that transverse abdominal muscles can get in on the fun too. So inhale fully and exhale completely, bracing your core as you squeeze and lift your shoulders, lift your head, and then inhale to release and be aware of how you feel in the upper body, staying soft there. Exhale, bracing your core, navel down as you lift your head and shoulders. Inhale, coming back. I'm just going to do a few repeats of these in your rhythm, moving with your breath. Slowly and very mindfully, just waking up the core, keeping the movement very simple, very fluid at first, so we can really maintain that awareness of how you're feeling in your neck. And now also through the whole rib area. Notice if you're tending to puff out your chest or flare the ribs, this will make it harder to connect more centrally and have an integrated core. So the whole spine working together, pulling in towards your center, and yet still working in a range of movement where you can maintain a natural, easy breath. Deep inhales, releasing back down. One more exhale, squeezing back up. Lift that tailbone and release. We're going to do 4 more like that. So adding on just the bottom tip of the spine as you exhale, navel in, and start to lift your tailbone energetically towards your knees. So the action, the movement looks very similar, but now you're extra aware of that tailbone lifting as you're rounding the low back. Great. So keeping that low back long and extended is really important in all of this core work. And also feeling free, feeling the natural length of the top of your spine and the curves of the whole back. One more for good luck. We're going to stay up when you come up with this next time. We're just going to take some pulses. You can keep your hands there by your head. You can also reach your fingers out towards your feet. And on your exhales, we're just going to pulse a little bit, keeping that core engaged. Navel down, hip bones pulling in towards your center. The chest remains soft with those easy inhales. And just pulse, pulse, and one more pulse. And release. Great. So when you're ready for some more, bring your lower legs parallel to the floor. And you want to keep your knees again right above your hips for this one, lower legs parallel. We're going to try to keep the knees as stable as possible. You could keep your arms on the floor for this for a little more stability. For a little more challenge, bring your hands over your heart, tenting your fingers like you were holding a ball. And then spread your toes. Inhale and exhale, brace the core. So navel in, hip bones towards the center. Extending through your toes again as you spread them. And we're going to move on the exhales. Exhale to tap the toes of one foot to or towards the floor. Keeping that stability in the knees. Come up on an inhale and exhale, second side. This one can tend to cramp people in the foot. And if you find at any point there's some super sharp or very significant sensation here that's telling you, hold on, or stop, well, please honor your body, listen to your body, and pause if you need to. You can massage out that area if it's cramping. And really paying attention to deep, easy breathing there will be extra beneficial when you're feeling the burn, when you're feeling a big sensation. See if you can keep the movement fluid, just like the breath, gliding in and out or gliding through the joint of the knee, keeping that extension in the lower back as you lower the toes. Totally okay if they don't touch. When you finish your second side, the next time, coming back up to parallel, spreading your toes, and then on an exhale, hug your legs towards your chest. This is a nice way to release tension, in the low back especially, and also you could add some massage this way by rolling on your back. Great. And then we're going to roll up and down on the spine. Another great way to massage the back. Just be careful not to roll on your neck. We're going to come up to a seated position. You could continue that through your roll or just roll to your side. We're going to start with your hands on the floor, maybe just in front of your hips, and just your toes on both feet. Really lengthen your spine here, especially that lower back, and go ahead and brace your core again. This is our first variation of boat pose, one of my favorite core work poses. And your second option is to bring your toes and bring your lower legs up parallel to the floor. You could continue holding your legs here for a little bit more support. Option 3 today is to add that little bit more work through the upper body by extending your fingers towards your toes. But if this has caused you to round and collapse in the low back, it's better to just hold on to the backs of your legs or even keep your fingertips on the floor. Just stay here for 2 more breaths. Let's see if we can spread those toes again. Pull the belly in, keeping the lowest ribs pulling also down towards your center as you lift your heart, relaxing your shoulders, soften the muscles of your face. You could just stay here for the next few breaths, or if you want a little bit more, we're going to move on the exhales and extend one leg at a time. Spread those toes on the inhale, and then move again on the exhale back to your other position, your starting position for Navasana. Big inhale here, and exhale the second side. Spreading toes, pulling into your center as you inhale and exhale, transitioning. We'll do one more time on each side. Exhale and inhale. On the second side, you could even bring the right leg to meet the left, or the second side, lift it up. Inhale, and then exhale. Release, feet to the floor, crossing your legs, and even lifting your heart to lift your upper body and hug your lower body. Give yourself a good squeeze here. Let your head hang heavy. We're going to do Navasana, boat pose, once more, because it's such a great pose. And if you're like me, you were already feeling some of the shakes that, it's really just like a shaking action. It's really good. That's a lot of these small muscles that we often underutilize. Waking up, letting themselves be known. Find your Navasana that's going to allow you the most integrated experience in your spine. Lengthen and feel your whole spine as you pull into your center. And we'll move again on the exhales, or just stay right where you are and maintain that deep breath. Exhaling back to your boat. Inhaling to lift that heart again. Lift the crown of your head. Exhaling, transitioning. Checking in with those shoulders, softening. And this time we'll just lift that second side, coming into the full expression of boat, possibly with that hand support, but a long spine, deep breath, maybe some good shakes, and then exhaling and hugging it out again. Great. I'm going to come back down to the back. Our final core floor sequence. And sometimes it's also nice to release through the side abdominal area and through the hips by letting the legs wobble side to side like a windshield wiper. When you're ready, we're going to lift the legs up. Really important, that connection with the lower back. So extend your tailbone away from you. Sometimes you can even use your hands to make sure that the base of the tail is reaching away and out as you spread your toes again and lift the soles of your feet up. It's okay to bend the knees. In fact, it's better to bend the knees as much as you need to, rather than, again, causing any crunching in the low back or feeling like you're working so hard, you're grinding your teeth. You can't take a deep breath. Great. So from here, we're just going to lower one leg at a time. So inhale to lift the soles of both feet up again. And exhale to lower one side, maybe a third of the way or even half of the way, just not all of the way to the floor. Wherever you are, you can maintain a deep breath. Lengthen through both legs as you spread the toes and squeeze the legs towards each other. Inhale, coming back up. Go ahead and exhale out the mouth. Inhale, both of the feet reaching up as you spread the toes. And exhale that second side down. Doesn't really matter how far. But again, maintain that length in the low back and bend your knees if you need to. As you spread your toes on the inhale, as you exhale, we engage and brace that core again. As you add the legs now. So the legs are like scissors here, squeezing towards your center. Inhale back up. And then exhale, bend the knees and hug it in. Big breath out is a great way to release tension. Also really like this one, this action through the lips. That really relaxes all of the muscles of my face. So we're gonna bring the legs up again, and you could just continue with that work we did before, this slow leg lowering and lifting. Or for our final core floor here, bring those fingertips to the side of the head again. We're going to really focus on the ends of the spine and, of course, the middle of the body. So engage the core, belly in. Inhale, lifting both of the feet up as you spread the toes. Exhale, we lower that first leg again. And then inhale, we lift the head and the shoulders. Exhale, we're going to lift that leg back up. Inhale, core in as you lift tail and head up. So we're curling up. And then exhale, release back to neutral. Inhale, spreading toes, both legs up. Exhale, that first leg. The second leg, sorry. Inhale, head and shoulders, core in. Exhale, the leg comes back up. Inhale, everything comes up as your core pulls in. Exhale, release. Inhale, lengthen the legs. And exhale, we're going to repeat that one 2 more times. Inhaling, head and shoulders. Exhaling, leg back up. Inhale, everything up, belly in. Exhale, release. In. Exhale, second side. Inhale, head and shoulders. Exhale, the leg. Inhale, tail and head. Exhale, release. Good stuff. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale at the top. Exhale, bring that leg back up. Inhale, everything up. And exhale, release. Inhale, exhale, in and out. Inhale, everything up. Exhale, everything down. Bend the legs and release. Feel free to do any of that pausing, or massaging, rolling, or anything else that lets you let go of everything you don't need. And again, bring your whole attention back inwards. Just notice and feel. Great stuff. Okay, so we're transitioning now into the standing part of our sequence. When you're ready, we're going to come up to a stand. You could also do this with that roll, crossing your legs, or just roll to the side. Also option with wide legs here. Use a little bit of momentum and a lot of connection to your center. Almost easy. Great. When you're ready, come to stand at the top of your mat. Your feet hip distance apart, knees following your toes at all times. You're standing in mountain pose. Knees have a soft bend, but the legs are strong, reaching down. Engage the core in so you can lift that upper body, lifting your heart, softening your gaze. Big, deep breath. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, bend at the hips, forward bend. Inhale, coming halfway up. And then exhale, plant the hands by your feet and step back into downward facing dog. We're going to be spending a lot of time here. It's a great way, actually, to both get that length in the back we're looking for. And we can do that core work as before. In fact, you can do core work almost anywhere, anytime, just by bracing your core. So find your foundation first. Make sure your hands look big, middle finger in the middle. You could even turn your hands a little bit out if you're feeling tight in the shoulders, or spread the space between your arms. Feel that balance between both arms. Even weight distribution through the shoulders. Also that balance between your arms and your legs. So looking back at your legs, make sure they're parallel. Knees are easy. And we're going to lift the sitting bones a little bit more to lengthen, especially that lower back. Soften on an exhale. And then go ahead and finish that exhale. Brace your core. Pull the navel in as you squeeze those hip bones a little bit more inward. Action of the legs moving towards center. And breathe deep. Great. When you're ready, we're going to lift that right leg up. Inhale, lengthen, and reach through both of the feet, through the bottom of the feet. And then exhale, we're just going to bring the knee in towards the nose, lowering your forehead towards your knee as you engage that core again. Shoulders over the wrist in this upward push-up position. We'll take one more breath. And then exhale, release back to downward dog. Feel free to pause as long as you need at any point in downward dog. Or if it becomes too much, just lower to your knees. Maybe pause in child's pose. As you're ready, back in neutral, downward dog. Inhale the left leg up. And reach through the heels of both of your feet as you engage that core. Exhale, bend the knee and float the body until the shoulders are over the wrists and you drop your forehead or even touch your knee with your nose. Inhale here, lengthening the spine and engaging the core. Exhale, step back, downward dog. Nice. Deep breath here. Inhale, lifting that first leg. And this time we're going to cross and twist, getting into the obliques a little bit more. So shoulders still over the wrists. Feel the length in that neck. Breathe deep here as you engage the core. And then exhale, back to downward dog. Deep breath in, lifting the second side. And then bending the knee as you transition the body forward. And we're twisting now. So the opposite knee moves in the direction of the opposite elbow. Pull the belly in as you lengthen the back. Nice deep breath here. And then exhale back to down dog. Good stuff. We got one more of those. Inhale, first side up. And transition the body forward as you bend the knee, this time to the same side elbow. Spread your fingers, push through all fingertips. Lengthen that tailbone away from your head as you engage the core once more. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, second side, bend the knee, shoulders over the wrists, long relaxed neck. And if you're flexible, make sure that that knee is not resting on the elbow, but lift it as high as you can. Exhale, down dog. Ooh, good stuff. This time, inhale, lift that first leg up. Exhale, come forward to a one-legged plank. Exhale, lower both feet and lower the knees this first time as you chaturanga. Come all the way to the floor. Point your toes. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, back to down dog. Inhale, second side up. Exhale, one-legged plank. And you have the option to lower the knees again, or this time reaching through both of your feet, through the bottom of the feet. Engage the core as you bend the elbows by your sides and chaturanga. Lower to the floor. Point your toes, elbows by your side, right above your wrists. Inhale, come forward and up. Cobra. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. This time, we're going to inhale, bring that right leg up. Exhale, step it between your hands. And pause here on your fingertips. Engage your core as you lengthen your back. You'll turn on your legs a little bit more, pulling into center. You could stay here or come up into a high lunge. So in the lunge, that back foot, the back heel is off of the floor. The front knee is right above that front heel. You can keep the hands on your hips or out wide for balance. Let's brace the core once more. So we want to lengthen the spine first, the axial extension. Feel the tail moving down, the head moving up. Soften your chest, your chin, and engage the core, possibly lifting your arms up. Just make sure you didn't tighten up your shoulders or your face. One more deep breath here. Activating both legs to lengthen the spine again, that back leg moving back. Exhale, hands by the front foot. Come back again to plank. Reach through both of your feet, engage the core, and bend the elbows by your side as you chaturanga. Release. Point the toes. Engage your tail and also the legs acting like the cobra's tail down to the ground so you can lift your upper body up, just using your core and your back, of course, for this nice back bend. Hands by your side and come back up, downward facing dog. Deep breath. Good work. When you're ready, left leg comes up. Exhale, bend the knee to the chest, and as light as you can, step it between your hands, and just pause. Turn on the legs again, squeezing them energetically, the top of the leg bone into the hip socket, lengthening the back, activating the core to help lift up for option 2. Hands could stay just behind the knee or on the hips. Or for that full expression of this high crescent lunge, we're going to bring the arms parallel first. I like to keep those shoulders relaxed and then lift the arms up. And extend as you extend your breath. So we're going to pull that tailbone down. The pubic bone lifts up in the front, that lowest rib pulling also towards center. Navel towards the spine as you lengthen the breath. Get really long through your back. Exhale, hands by the front foot. Coming back to Phalakasana, plank. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and exhale slowly with control, and yet soften. Release into the floor. Hands by your side, elbows into the body as you come forward and up. Cobra pose. And then exhale, release. We're going to do that again. Inhale, pushing the tops of the feet down, coming forward and up. Bhujangasana. Exhale, release. This time, bring your hands behind your back. This is just an option. You can also just repeat the same cobra as before, especially if it's hard to grab your hands and interlace the fingers. You could grab your elbows or just repeat. So resting your hands on just above your tailbone. Push that tail, the legs down into the ground as you pull up through the core, belly up and in. Breathe deep as you come forward and up. One more cobra, which we're going to hold now, whichever variation you're in. Soften the shoulders. Soften your jaw, your eyebrows and forehead as you take one more deep breath. See if you can lift a little bit more as you pull into center, and then exhale, release. And go ahead and set your head down, either on your hands, forehead on the mat, or one ear to one side. Notice how you feel. Notice your breath. We're going to come into Sphinx Pose now as a nice decompression for a lot of that core work. So bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. Hands parallel out in front. If this feels like way too much of a back bend already, or if you're squeezing your neck with your shoulders, you could always walk your forearms a little bit more forward. And take a more gentle version of the back bend. Engage that tail down a little bit. So the tailbone reaches back, but the tops of your feet reach down as you spread your toes again, lifting your heart, softening your shoulders. Deep breath. Lovely. Go ahead and release and come back up through hands and knees, the downward facing dog. Two more smooth, unrushed breaths here. Before we're going to come down now onto our seats. Now you could just bend the knees and lower them to the floor. Or if you're practicing your jump through here, engaging your core is essential. As you pull your body in towards center, you're going to lift up. I like to come to the tops of the feet and then just walk the legs through. So come back down to the mat. Let's unroll as slowly as we can. It's another great compliment for that boat pose work we were doing before. We're going to sit up tall, this time with the feet flat on the ground. You may need to adjust your position so you have room to roll down. And lengthen your spine. Lift your heart. Brace your core again. So navel pulling in, pubic bone pulling up. We're going to lift the arms parallel. Keep the shoulders relaxed as you reach forward. Imagine you were holding on to something tight, and we're just going to inhale, reach forward and lengthen, and exhale, brace the core, and we're going to roll partway and do a couple repeats of that. Inhale, sort of like our cat and cow from the beginning. Exhale, rounding. The whole time, the lower abdominal muscles really working here. We brace that core so that the lowest abdominal muscles below your navel and onto the sides of it pull in towards your center. Come on up again. And when you feel ready, we're going to lower down as slow as you can, keeping the feet grounded, feet really heavy. Brace your core and breathe real deep. Try to go as slow as you can for this one. Really hard for me to stay soft through the chest for that one. I feel like I'm really focusing in and sometimes unaware of what the rest of the body is doing to compensate for some areas of weakness, or I like to think of them as my greatest potential for developing new strength. Once again, in any comfortable resting position on your back, feeling the support of the floor. We'll take the feet out as wide as the mat, arms by your side. Exhale, and just let the legs move over to one side, the knees windshield wiping from side to side again, through bent knees. Noticing the length in your spine and how this gentle twist initiated through the legs, through the knees and hips. How that feels. Great. Still got one last core work here, but it's also kind of one of my favorites for a whole integrated spine, and really feel that foundational connection in bridge pose. So for this one, you want your heels right underneath your knees, feet hip distance apart. Make sure that low back is extended, so your tail is reaching towards your feet, There's still a gentle curve there, but the back is long and relaxed. Sometimes I like to do this variation of bridge, especially if I've had any issues in my neck and the tops of the shoulders, called robot arms. The palms are facing inwards. And on an inhale, I'm going to engage the back of the arms, the shoulders, the back of the head, and the feet. Push down to lift up through your hips. Exhale, and then come back down. Inhale, and come up again. Nice and slow. Really see if you can feel the articulation. So all of the vertebrae in your spine, lifting, unraveling, and lengthening. And then as you exhale, you roll down through the top of your back, then the middle of the back, then the lowest part of the back, and the low back rounds again. So you get that, or arches, you get that gentle curve. Do that one more time. Maybe using robot arms, maybe coming into the classic version here. Still the shoulders, the back of the head, the back of the arms reaching down. Now you could bring your arms behind your back or just keep them by your side. Now there's a tendency for the knees to fall open here, and we don't use the legs as much. So let's make sure the knees feel like they're right above your heels. And the energy of your legs is pulling into your center as you reach your knees away from your head. You get really long in the spine here one more time. And this time, arms by your side, release down one vertebra at a time. Let the lower back, tail be the last part to touch down, and then arch and release. Feel free to massage your neck, pulling any tension from some of these bigger muscles behind the ears, through the sides of the neck and then into the body. We'll take one final cool down pose, a gentle twist here. I want you to find the version of the twist that works best in your back, especially in your neck. You can start with your arms by your sides here. One option is to just bring the knees together, feet together. And depending on your hips and your body, you might want to scoop the hips to the left as you let the knees fall over to the right. Try to keep your left shoulder very heavy here. So like there was a sandbag or something big and soft and heavy on top of it. And it's okay if your knees don't touch the floor, but try to keep your knees together and that left shoulder heavy. If that didn't work too well in your body, you could also cross, bringing the left knee on top of the right, and then let both legs fall over. Sometimes easier for both feet to rest on the floor in this version. You could even look over your opposite arm, your extended arm, softening your gaze or even closing your eyes. Notice again the length of your whole spine as you inhale. With your exhale, notice if there's any tension you're still holding, you can release. When you're ready, engage the core just a little bit, will do a lot. Pulling navel in to support the lower back as you unwind, coming out through center, just pausing. You might already notice a big difference, a big change after doing one side. When you're ready for the second side, take your variation of this reclined spinal twist. The knees together, as close to together, but they don't necessarily touch the floor. That's fine. More important, you want to make sure you feel spacious in your lower back. So you could even bring that back of the upper hand or your upper arm, the back of the hand touches the low back to remind it to open wide and lengthen. You try that twisted version on the other side. The right knee comes across on top of the left, and then you twist through the lower body. You could keep your head right here in the center, or with the back of the skull still on the floor, looking over your opposite extended arm, and then reconnecting with your breath. And one last really luxurious breath here, the inhale. One more exhale, exploring places where you can just let go. Pulling into your center, or as you come out, unwind through the middle. And then finishing in any comfortable resting pose that feels really good to you. That could be right where you are with knees bent. You could also open the feet wide and let the knees rest on one another. You could also rest on your side or take a classic resting pose in Shavasana with both legs extended as your feet fall heavy and open to the sides. You can also lift the upper body to bring the shoulder blades a little bit more towards center and behind your heart. Let your hands face up, so nothing is touching your palms or your fingertips. And let the fingers relax. Gentle curve through the hand. Closing your eyes when you're ready. Making sure that the neck feels long on all sides, especially the back of the neck. Maybe dropping that chin a little closer to the heart until it feels like your chin is at the level of your forehead or even just a little bit closer to your heart, a little bit lower. Make any final adjustments that you need to get comfortable here. Not looking for perfection. That's why it's called yoga practice, not yoga perfection. So we're entering now the most important part of our practice, which honestly, when I started my yoga practice, sounded always counterintuitive. How can the doing nothing at the end be the most important? And yet what we've seen, and hopefully what you've already begun to experience, is that when you take the time to slow down and turn your attention inwards, especially after a challenging experience, one that required a lot of concentration, you actually make time for yourself, for your whole self, to better integrate that experience, to retain that new flexibility and that strength that you were working on. The whole body and the body-mind will better absorb that when you pause. And again, connect a little bit more with your inner experience. Remain aware and alert, even as you let your whole physical body become ever more still and relaxed. Letting your feet and legs relax. Letting your pelvis and hips relax. Attention to your core and letting the whole center of you soften and release into the floor. Relaxing shoulders and arms. Relaxing hands and fingers a little more. Soften your neck, your head, and relax all of the muscles of your face. allow the whole outer body to soften as you bring your full attention more inward, allowing the inner body to relax, allowing your organs, your tissues, even your more subtle, energetic experiences, soften. And when you feel your whole self still, calm, and relaxed, then bring your full attention to your breathing. And for the next few moments, simply allow your full attention to rest in the rise of your inhale and the fall of each exhale. And as you're ready, slowly begin to deepen your breathing. And as your breath becomes deeper, you start to oxygenate the whole body again. When your body feels lighter, feels ready for movement and waking up, start with any small movements that feel sweet, wiggling fingers and toes, moving arms and legs, and even reaching overhead with your arms and stretching your whole body out long again. And exhale, release, rolling your head gently side to side, taking the time to take care of your experience. As you're ready, bend your legs, hug them into your chest before rolling over onto your right side. Using your hands to come up. Find any comfortable position. Take one more opportunity to turn your attention inwards, connecting first with self, to be better able to connect and show up with the whole world around you. Thanking yourself for doing this really important, really wonderful integrative work, bringing your hands in front of your heart. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste.